Hey there, I'm Drew Badger, the world's #1 English fluency guide and the co-founder of EnglishAnyone.com, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to another advanced listening practice lesson. As I want to say at the beginning of all these lessons, if you're new to the channel, this is your first video you're watching from me, I recommend you go back and watch some of the previous ones on our channel, something outside of this video series, because it's going to be easier for you to understand my voice. I'll be speaking much more quickly, even faster than what native speakers normally use in conversations. So if you're not used to the sound of my voice and you really want to get the most from this lesson, please go back and watch some of those previous lessons. But if you're ready, let's dive right into this lesson. Well, this is actually something I wanted to talk about. This was about a mail I sent out to some of my subscribers. So we get lots of people, they subscribe for our email newsletters or for various guides that we create. We make lots of free information for learners. And so a lot of people, they also continue to receive messages about all kinds of topics, usually things related to fluency. But I also talk a lot about motivation and psychology and things, because if you don't understand those basic fundamentals, the basic things about how to get fluent, before you even start studying the language, it doesn't really matter what you're going to do. So getting fluent in a language is something that takes a lot of time and effort, even if you use like the best techniques possible, because there's just a lot of training that happens and you have to condition your body and your mind and your voice and your tongue to make certain motions, like if you're coming from like one particular language that doesn't have the sounds, like Japanese, and trying to speak English, a lot of those sounds just aren't in the English language that are in Japanese, or vice versa. So when you're coming from that, if you're not prepared with the psychology, if you don't have the right mindset, this way of thinking, what we call mindset, it's going to be much more difficult to get fluent. So what I was talking about, in addition to just giving various tips about how to get fluent, talking about like specific phrases that I give, like phrases that will help you sound more native, or grammar points, or other things like that. This was a particular mail I was talking about myself having some frustration creating a new video for Master English Conversation members. Now this is actually something I'm deciding to make this video because it was such a powerful thing. It struck a chord with a lot of readers, a lot of people that were reading the mail that I sent. So to strike a chord, this is a really great, fantastic, even native phrase you can use, and it just means to have a good connection or be in agreement or be in harmony, but it's kind of a music idea. So if you to strike a chord, like to strike something means to hit it. So you could strike like a guitar string or a drum, or strike a piano key, and you get a chord like ding. Well, that's just one note. I can't really do a chord. It's like ding, 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 like something like that. But anyway, to strike a chord with someone means to have agreement, or to be kind of on the same frequency, on the same wavelength, as we say in English. So what I had written struck a chord with a lot of readers. Struck a chord. Anyway, so I was talking about frustration I was experiencing because actually I'm not so great with understanding grammar, if that sounds weird. I actually really like studying grammar. It's something that's interesting because I like logic and figuring out how logically the language works, but then also trying to take that and explain it to people by showing it to them, or to make it really simple with a simple formula so it's easy to remember. Because really any of the grammar points you're using, you should be learning in a way that, number one, is helping you see the grammar in action, and then number two, helping you practice that. But also it shouldn't be something that you're trying to memorize a list of words or something that you won't be able to access when you're actually having a conversation. So if one of your big problems with fluency is that you're thinking about something and then you have to stop and hesitate and think, and then, okay, how do I say this? What grammar point am I using? Am I using the right word with this? That kind of thing. I want to stop you from doing that. So I'm trying to help students and help you from not doing that, especially if that's one of your big problems. Anyway, so one of the grammar points that I was kind of struggling with each month in Master English Conversation, we have a different grammar point that we focus on, and you learn it in different ways to help you learn it and use it automatically. So this one is whether to use to plus infinitive or verb plus ing after a verb. And now that sounds kind of complicated, but all it's really asking is, if you have a verb, the following verb after that, do you say like, like recall to see or recall seeing? So would you say, I recall seeing the movie? Or would you say, I recall to see the movie, something like that. Now, this is something that it's kind of obvious to native speakers, but a lot of them don't understand the rule. And what was really interesting is that, it actually took me a long time to think about it, and it was quite frustrating. I actually spent like a week just figuring out this one video, and the whole video is only, it's less than 20 minutes long. And a lot of people don't see all the work that goes into that. But again, I'm talking about it now because I had written this mail about it, and people were really excited and interested in about it, so I figured I would just make it for everyone to learn more about here. So anyway, about this grammar point, I had spoken with my mom about it because she likes talking about that kind of stuff, and even she didn't have a great answer. And I looked online, and other people had like basically done the kind of, I don't know, I hate to say it this way, but it's kind of the lazy way, which is some verbs use this one and some verbs use that one. And if you look for like video examples of this grammar point online, you'll find them either web pages or videos on YouTube and other sites like that. Basically, you've got, okay, remember these list of words here and remember these list of words here to know which is which. And this is really an awful thing to tell students because it's just incredibly frustrating. And like knowing that for a test is pretty helpful because you have time to think about that. But in a conversation, you don't. You need a really quick way to understand something. And so when I was thinking about what's the best way to do that, and it was really frustrating, and thinking about all these things, kind of when I was in the middle of my frustration, I had still not figured out the best way to solve this for students. I had seen an interview that Jackie Chan was talking, it was an interview of Jackie Chan, but he was talking about all the action scenes he does. Now, Jackie Chan is a hero of mine. I love like his determination and his perseverance. So the fact that he's very patient and he continues to work hard, it's something, but I think this is a very important point here. And the reason I'm again making this video is because the point of the Jackie Chan interview is to show something about fluency, but also to remind students that even though Jackie Chan looks amazing, he looks like a genius when he does all these great action scenes, that's one of the last takes after he's done the thing for like 50, 60, 70, 100 times. So he tries, recording a particular fight scene and he messes up. He makes a mistake over and over and over and over again. But because he has the patience to continue and they're, willing to take the time to do that, to get just the right take, that's what helps us get fluent. So there's always, looking at people, you could like look at a video I make and maybe it's like 10 minutes long and you think, wow, a 10-minute video, but maybe like 100 hours go into making something so that it's just right. Like the phrasal verb course that we made, that took like many months to make a whole series of videos that worked just right to get the formula just right so that students can watch the videos and really understand a lot, and then also have the understanding of how to make phrasal verbs so that they can create thousands of phrasal verbs on their own and understand how they work. So when you can do that, that's where you feel, really excited and great about that. So for you as an English learner out there, it's really important to remember, when you're looking at people like, wow, that guy can really speak well, or that woman can really speak really well, or this person is successful doing that thing, you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. This is another great native phrase. We've got an iceberg. This is like a huge block of ice that's sitting in the water, and most of the iceberg is below the water. So we've got just the tip, the very top of it above the water. This is the water level, and then the big part of the iceberg is below it down there. So what you see, the final product, really you can remember that and be impressed by that. You can be awed by that, A-W-E-D. To be awed by something is to be wowed or impressed by that thing. But you should remember all of the practice and all of the hard work that goes into that. So you remember that if you do this part down here, this part is what comes from that. And other people will be impressed by you, and other people will be awed by you if you also take the same time to go through that effort. I won't go into the grammar point because this is for Master English Conversation members. It will be released very soon, and they are very excited to be getting this, and I'm also really excited to be releasing this lesson set because it's such an important grammar point that people should know. And finally, people will have a really simple formula that they can use to automatically understand this really great grammar point. So they'll know which to use in which situation, and then they'll be able to practice that so that in any time they're using a situation, they can quickly know, okay, we use this verb with that verb, that kind of thing. So again, when you're practicing things, number one, try not to think about rules, so much as if you can see the grammar point in action, and try to practice it over and over again. And the second part is to not be so awed by the great work you see other people do without remembering all the hard work that they're doing behind that you don't really see. So whenever you get kind of frustrated or you look at other people and think, wow, they've really done something amazing, like they started a business or they learned to play an instrument really well, what you don't see is the hard work. Ask people about the hard work and how they did that part, not just like this little part up here getting excited about that. Find people that are successful and follow them, but ask how they did all that hard work at the bottom. Well, I hope you have understood most of this, if not all of it. If you probably want to go back and review this many times, there are quite a few great phrases in this lesson. But I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye-bye. To continue learning, click on the link in this video to download Speak English Naturally, our free guide to speaking and sounding like a native English speaker. The guide reveals the 3 most important kinds of conversational English you must learn if you want to sound native, and will help you experience instant improvement in your fluency and speaking confidence. To download your free guide on a mobile device, click on the link in the upper right of this video. To download your free guide from a computer, click on the link in the lower right of this video. I look forward to seeing you in the guide.